them come. This is their fate.
I need my props for having more hours on PlayStation than y'all.
No. We ain't talking about none of that. All right. Welcome back to the House of Wolves podcast. I am your host, Deontay. Here are my near and dear friends, Jalen and Josh. Today we got a lot to talk about. Big Jalen. Somebody's feeling a little cocky about some arbitrary numbers, false numbers. These false numbers he got, but we're gonna talk about it. Nah, it ain't no gamer of the year, G. But we got some stuff to talk about per usual. But before we get started, Jalen, Josh, tell the people how you been, what you been up to, how's life going, what you been playing, what you been on. Talk to the people.
Shoot, I'll go start off first, man. I'm feeling real great. Y'all probably ain't never heard me have this much energy. Yeah, I've been playing games, man. Y'all know how they be getting on me, talking this, that, and the third. Jalen don't play this. Jalen don't play that. Yep. Guess what I be playing?
Nothing.
More games on my PlayStation and my Xbox that I never wanted, that I still got and never got rid of, than Josh and Deontay.
Oh my
More
God.
hours. More hours.
We got. What are you talking? Okay, let's talk.
Yeah. So
let me get your 5 minutes.
Man.
Let me get your 5 minutes. Go ahead, take your 5. Cause I'm cooking you right after. Take your 5.
So I'm good, man. I've been my gaming hours beating Deontay. Y'all know they be cooking me on here, so I just felt like I should stand on the podium or something. I might get one on Amazon. As a matter of fact, stand with a PlayStation and Xbox.
Oh my God.
And just be grinning. But other than that, man, I've been good. I ain't been playing the newest games or just different games. I've been playing them though. You feel me?
Yeah.
I've been playing them. So I've been doing that. I did my outside of the game and stuff. I just had to get my accolades in because people, you always got some little haters out there. That's what make me great. You feel me?
Wishing on your downfall. I got you.
Praying on my downfall.
True.
Other than that, I did an 8K in Dallas, like I had said. I'm low-key mad because I caught a cramp when I was running. So, trash my time was still straight. I mean, my 8K was, under 40 minutes. But it just trashed my time because I was on, a 7:30 pace. I was going to finish that mug in less than 38 minutes. But I caught that cramp, messed me up, and finished a little bit slower. So, other than that, everything been smooth. The holidays coming up. But yeah, so I just keep it short. Okay. Still playing Metaphor and Multiverses though, so and then Sonic Generations or Shadow Generation.
You still loving that Metaphor? Because I started it a little bit more, but obviously I'm not finna buy it yet. I got too much going on. But yeah, you still loving it? Still good?
Yeah, it's straight. I was playing it last night, so I'm enjoying it. I'm gonna try to hop on today all the time. So I got a holiday party to go to, so
okay.
I impede on
it. Okay. What about you, Josh? What you been up to before we cook Jalen for his false accolades? But go ahead. What you been up to?
Haters.
What I've been up to. So I took a little bit of a longer weekend last week. It happened to coincide with a little bit of the Game Awards as well, so I got to watch that. I was at the office, but it wasn't busy. And then over the weekend, it was mainly 2 things I did. One, just hang out with the family. We've been cleaning up because we gotta move some stuff around, reorganize the house, and so that's been a lot of work for me and the wife. As far as my free time, though, I've only done pretty much 2 things. I've watched Arcane. I was able to binge the whole season 2 over the weekend.
Nice.
Yeah, and before I even watched it, I've been hearing a lot of talk about it or controversy. But for me, I feel I enjoyed it a lot. I think season 1 is still overall a stronger, more straightforward story. But season 2, I enjoyed it a lot. I liked all the characters, all the scenes, the action, where the story went. I don't know if you had anything to say about it at all, Deontay. But yeah, overall, I feel like it was a solid series. It didn't win Best Adaptation at the Game Awards. Personally, I feel like I haven't even watched Fallout yet, but I would still probably give it to Fallout, like I said last time, because I feel like Fallout is trying to adapt. Like it feels like a video game story brought to TV. Whereas I
Yeah.
feel like Arcane really became its own thing and like completely, they got the same name characters, but it feels like it's not trying to be League of Legends.
Yeah, nah, for sure. I feel like it was like basically Fallout was a continuation of the games for me. It felt like it was like but it was done so well. I was like, no, for sure. That yeah, I felt like that was the one that was the one most deserving. Honestly, anyway. So was definitely fitting that they actually won there. So cool stuff there. I know that Game Awards is going to be a big topic for today, but I definitely want to try to swing back to talking about Arcane as well, just to kind of give our thoughts on that. So, anything else before I?
Oh yeah, we cleaned up the house.
Mm-hmm.
I watched Arcane and another Game Awards hot announcement, Warframe. So I'm back on Warframe.
He back on
Catching
road.
up,
Every play that game like it. Oh, yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
catching up to the new content, so I can enjoy the new story. But yeah, that's, I guess, metaphor. Gonna have to wait till next year.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. It kind of be kicking those
uh,
bigger games out the window sometimes. I'm like, bro, I ain't got the time for y'all bigger games. Like, I switched off of Final Fantasy and went to Silent Hill 2 because I'm just like, I don't have time for you right now, Final Fantasy. So I'm finna beat
mm,
Silent Hill 2, and then I'm gonna go to Spider-Man 2 because those are like 15-hour games, 20-hour games. And then I'm gonna swing back to the one of the longer ones. I gotta choose. I haven't chose yet because they're just too long. But yeah, I gotta figure out which one.
yeah, but that's it for me.
Okay. Well, for me, I've I've been playing a lot of games actually. I've actually took the weekend to beat Indiana Jones, and I can't give it enough praise. Honestly, I felt like they did a really good job with it. The quality was there. I played it on my PC, so it was definitely one of those things where the extra fidelity, I didn't feel like I needed it, but because I was switching back and forth between that and the Xbox, but I just like the global illumination implementation on the PC more. Felt like everything was just a little bit darker, so I liked it there. So I played it mostly on my PC. But yeah, the quality was there. Cutscenes were great. Action sequences were great. I felt like they really put their money where their mouth was when it comes to truly elevating their games. And if they're going to keep doing big budgeted games like this for like those high profile franchises, I feel like these can definitely throw blows with Spider-Man, throw blows with honestly, I feel like it's a better adaptation than Spider-Man just because of how much and it's hard to get the web swinging down in Spider-Man, so I'm not gonna knock it, but it just felt like it was so many things in this game that just like were really close to what you would feel like to be Indiana. That it was crazy. That first person choice was such the smart and right choice for them. So kudos to them. I thought they were going to make a good game. I didn't think it was going to be a great game, but it is a one of those great games. So if you haven't had a chance to check it out, definitely check it out if you're into Indiana Jones or just high quality visuals and gaming, because that is a treat there. So I beat that. It took
Looks like that, but that's the investment is worth it.
uh don't get me started on Bethesda. But yeah, Ty Howard did his thing. And it whatever he, added to it, whatever Machine Games did, I feel like they actually did do something worthwhile there. And they did Starfield. So I'm like, honestly, the best one that they're the best acquisition right now for them in regards to accolades, I would still have to go to, Bethesda, even though I think that one wasn't worth the money that they paid for it. Simply due to like Redfall and like how they packaged it and pretend like maybe their sequencing may be a little bit better now. I think Avowed had to get that extra Microsoft polish too. I'm not saying that they were there immediately, but I feel like when they got that extra Microsoft bands, like that money, they then became a studio worth, I guess, buying at that point. But anyways, I'm not to harp on Bethesda, but they definitely did a thing there. Outside of that, like I said, I just started Silent Hill 2. And I've been playing. I mean, I know I beat Stellar Blade. And what else I've been playing? I've been playing those games mostly, and been playing Metaphor ReFantazio on my Steam Deck. Which has been cool too. But they leaked a Legion Go. Now my eyes are OLED one, the Legion Go 2 with the OLED. I said, oh my goodness. That's the only reason. But at the same time, and they said it might have Steam OS. So I was like, oh shoot, if it got Steam OS, I ain't even gotta worry about it. So that Steam Deck might just get tossed if it is what it is, saying it what it is. If it actually is what's being leaked. I don't know that yet, but I really liked the Legion Go. I liked the whole concept of it. And I just didn't like Windows, and Steam OS being on there might be the move. Like I said, they've been killing it with the Steam OS. So, but yeah, that's pretty much what I've been doing. I ain't been doing that much. Like I said, trying to beat some games. I got a bunch of stuff coming up that I got to beat as well. So just trying to beat some games as I go through this thing we call life. Family is good. We were getting prepared for family to come up, which is really great and cool. So we got some family coming up for the weekend for kid's birthday, and then we got family coming up on the 24th for Christmas. So trying to prepare the house for all that too is a little nerve-wracking, but at the same time, super fun and enjoyable. But that's pretty much it on my end for everything that I've been up to. Let's talk about Jalen and his false accolades real quick. Let's talk about our PlayStation wraps and our Xbox wrap.
Padded stats.
Yeah, those padded stats. I think we talked about the Xbox wrap. I'm not sure if we talked about it I think we definitely talked about it. So, Jalen is he wins, and you know what? It's not false. He wins based off of the amount of time he put into his games. Yeah, the amount of time he put into his games. Now, variety. There might be something there to be. There might be something there to kind of talk through in regards to what the variety is. But mostly his games were two big ones: Call of Duty and Multiverses. And he decided to play those games on two separate systems.
And Persona.
Persona as well, yes. Persona was like, 80-something hours. So the way he split up his time between those two big games, those main games, he did come out on top pretty well, actually, with pretty stark.
You trying to break down my stat? Well, if you took the back quarter, you cherry picking.
Listen, man. I'm trying to give you a props, bro. So the guy played
almost 300 on what, PlayStation?
Yeah, 300.
Or was that
on
Xbox?
PlayStation? Or I think
it was almost 200.
And
on
it
PlayStation.
Was like
Almost
a certain
200.
amount on the other one. And honestly, those aren't big numbers.
Oh, it was like 300 on Xbox and probably like 200 on PlayStation.
Yeah. It's not big numbers in my opinion. Gamers spend way more time, and that's not big numbers. Our numbers were just significantly lower due to the fact that we did not have a game that we enjoyed to the extent of what he enjoyed, Multiverses and Call of Duty. So yeah, we might have played more games individually, but our hours were much less than his. And I won't even bring up, the full fact of, having kids, having relations, Like,
Hey, life about choices. I ain't trying to hear none of that, bro. That's like saying, why I ain't go to the league because I got put in jail. Like, you made
he
that
already,
choice.
he already, he
It's
already
the
had,
same thing.
he already has some smoke for me. I knew that's why I want to bring it up.
Anything after Bud is SHIT, bro. I ain't trying to hear none of that. Like, I played more games. And look, and I give y'all the benefit of the doubt. Y'all probably played more games because y'all be playing on a PC and stuff. If y'all want to bring up Steam numbers and whoop,
we ain't got
that's
them
perfectly
yet.
fine.
We ain't got them yet, but once we get them,
That's perfectly fine.
once we get them,
And I
don't
ain't
worry.
even my biggest thing ain't even just about playing the games. It's about I had more hours on the death box. It's simple as that. And I ain't even want the blaster console, and now I got more hours than y'all two combined.
Oh,
like, and I ain't want it. You know what I'm saying? I don't even claim to be the gamer. I'm playing bare bones. You feel me? But I just want my accolade that hey, you play the game. Well, I played the game. We was on that game. You feel me? I was on the game. And you're right, the number's not large. We played more hours in Destiny, other games way back when. I had 400 hours in Destiny in 1 year. Like, you know what I'm saying? I ain't saying on big numbers. It's just compared to what I've been doing and all the heat I've been getting, these are okay numbers compared to the heat I've been receiving.
Yeah, no. Agreed. Because I had to take a look at this, and I was like, dang, I really didn't play all that much. I was very selective on the games I played, which is, is common when you're growing up and you kind of you ain't got that much time. But there was very selective, and most of the games I was playing were very like far in between, and like. I remember PlayStation, I had a little stint of where I didn't play that PlayStation for like 6 months straight. Didn't have no data locked in for my system, for that system at all. So it really is one of those things where there was plenty of games to play. There was not a lot of time for me to do it, and really it just kind of went from there, which is understandable. We had plenty of stronger years. I'm talking thousands. I'm almost certain I was in like the 800s and 900s before, which is kind of crazy back in real heyday. So these numbers ain't that bad. These numbers are simply enough. It was just funny that we always talk junk about Jalen not actually having one knowledge on a lot of games coming out, and then two playing games, and he beat us in that category. So we let him run. Yeah, he can have his fun around the sun, I guess. Let him have his fun around the sun.
So yeah, you got us on the Xbox because I sold my Xbox like in March, and I got like $100 on there. Same thing with my PlayStation. I sold that around May. I got like 150 on there. But Jalen beat both those times. So he got me there. Me, I've been spending my time on PC or in mobile or not at all. So that's where all my time is. Like I was just checking my phone. I got some hundreds of hours on some mobile games, but we ain't gotta go into that.
yeah. They get crazy on the mobile. But yeah, we take our L's and stride.
But Jalen, that means you ain't got no excuse not to finish Okami. So let's get to it.
Yeah, he gotta at least finish what's it? Jedi Survivor. The Jedi Survivor, he beat the other one.
He got a couple games he
Fallen Order. You need to at least beat Jedi Survivor.
I don't know about that Okami, but that game, you need a guide to play that mug, bro. You need guide or time. Whichever one you want.
Okami, you can just look up Jedi. Where you at. He just decided not to play it no more.
Nah, I tried to go back and play it though. I tried at least twice, and I couldn't figure out where I was at in a walkthrough. And I didn't feel it was taking me like 10 minutes to figure out where I was at. And I'm just like, you know what? I don't really feel like playing this no more. And I tried again because Josh was on my head about it. I remember, and I was just like, I'm gonna try again, and couldn't figure out where I was at. So, and then Jedi Survivor.
You gotta find that right NPC. Yeah.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, and then you got to figure out at what sequence did you talk to him? Did you talk to him already, or you did this? Oh, well, you got to talk to him. But okay, all right, I'm going to talk to him. Oh, you already talked to him. You're supposed to go do this, that, and the third, and go talk to his other. And I'm just like, all right, never mind. Because I got to talk to bro 3 times, and I got to figure out which time I need to talk to him. So that type of stuff, I'm just like, all right, bro. And then Jedi Survivor.
You said what?
May or may not have Game Pass anymore.
Oh my God! See what I'm talking about? Y'all hear this, man? We give him us props. We tell him he play games, and then he say, "Yeah, I cut that off." I'm like, all right, bro.
Man, I'm gonna get Game Pass again, maybe, bro. I just gotta figure out when.
Yeah,
they gotta have some. I had it for 3 years, man. I tried.
I don't even know what to be the next game you would want to play on there. To be honest, there isn't nothing.
I want to try Indiana Jones, but I don't know if I want to play it that bad. I looked at the price; it's like $20 a month or something. I was just like, nah.
Yeah, that's why I was telling you about the stacking up, because I was like, bro, that junk is a little pricey.
I did stack up though. That's the thing.
Oh yeah, you stacked up. It's just you probably did have a good amount of time too.
Yeah, I had 3 years on it. That's the max, right?
Yep. 3 years the max. Okay, well, we ain't gonna harp on it too much, but yeah, Jalen definitely beat us in time played on games this year, and we will. I'll be coming back for that throne probably next year, hopefully with some solid games I want to play, because I don't really have anything that's like I'm going back to constantly. So it probably would have been me and you if I would have stuck on multiverses, but I hopped off that thing. You was going crazy. We probably would have been mad. We would have toe to toe if I would have stayed on there.
Yeah, man, y'all ain't want to play with me. I was just like, man, skip you. That's all them Saturday mornings. Like, y'all trying to hop on a game? Crickets.
He said, man, skip you. That wasn't my fault.
I mean, most of the time I was actually at work, but
yeah,
I wasn't gonna get on multiverses regardless. So
hey, that was cooked.
Hey, y'all lost. Not just fun talking.
All right.
I thought about booting it up for the Raven came out, but I ain't have it downloaded.
Nah, that game ain't. It's just they just put you in matches quick, bro. That's the best thing I can say about that guy, and it's funny.
Oh yeah, I forgot I was playing Marvel. That's what I spent most of my free time on.
Yeah, Marvel Rivals.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's gonna be mobile at some point for sure. All right, well, let's move on to our first topic. We're going to talk about the Game Awards. We're going to talk about some of the reveals, some of our favorite reveals, at least. I had Jalen and I watched it a little bit. I'm not sure if he had any reveals he wanted to talk about. I know Josh watched it as well. So some of the things I bring up that I like the most, and then we can go from there. But before we do that, I wanted to talk about the Game of the Year. Best game direction, best narrative, and best art direction. Everything else I really don't care about. So, best game direction went to... Let's start somewhere else. Best art direction went to Metaphor Refantasio. How you liking the art so far in that game, Jalen? You thinking this looks cool, or do you think it's samey?
I mean, it's cool. I like it. I always feel like I think the most interesting thing so far in the game is just like the humans and what they look like, and it's just, I ain't saying I'm the biggest fan of them and stuff like that, but it's just like I always be wondering, like, man, what provoked y'all? And some of the stuff don't look like Bloodborne. You be like, all right, man, whoever made this game, they crazy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like. It's just interesting to be like, what made y'all think of this? And it's not like tropey anime type stuff. It's just like very different, but it ain't sadistic. Like I don't know how to explain it. It's just when I see the humans, I just be like, bro, what was y'all thinking when y'all made this? And like, I ain't saying the designs even look cool. It's just different, but it don't look sinister or like crazy like Bloodborne stuff do. So, but overall, I mean, it's cool though. Like,
I don't like it because of the fact that I was like the temporal alias, and I was like, I don't really want that game. Looks like over sharpened, and every freaking edge is always moving, and I notice it every time I play it. That what annoys me the most. But it's not nothing to do with the art. It's just due to the fact that they don't know how to put in a proper anti-aliasing solution. and it's just ugly. So I don't like it like that. But that's not nothing to do with the art. It's more so to do with their tech. Um, obviously, Astrobot, Black Myth, Elden Ring, and Neva was in this as well. Any arguments on why anybody else should have won that best art?
So I think that Metaphor, like Jalen was saying, I think the art direction looks very good. Like the menus, the design, like the concept of the characters and the world. As far as like the technical aspect, I think it's weaker than those other games, like Deontay said. I don't like like they have like a filter over the screen that gives it kind of like I don't know, like a book like look or something like that.
Film
The
grain?
characters
That's
also
the
have
hard part about it.
like a film grain.
Yeah.
No, I mean I think the game, I like film grain in some situations, but I feel like that game looks better without it, just because in motion it doesn't look that good. So I personally turn off the like there's a mod to remove it. So I personally removed it and it makes it more clear so I can see like the buildings in the background or stuff like that. And then like Deontay said, like the TA and stuff like that. So overall I will say I think art direction, like the ideas that they put for the art are the most unique, and that's what I like about it. More so than like Wukong and stuff, because I think those games are, the other games are I don't want to say it in a bad way, but there's stuff we've seen before. Like we've seen very realistic looking Chinese games before, so that's why Black Myth doesn't surprise me on the art direction. Now the technical aspect of the art, I would say they knocked it out of the park. But as far as brand new ideas, I feel like Metaphor brought that to the table.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I would say too. I mean, if I was looking at art, I always was kind of a little more captivated by Elden Rings and like what they do with their art style and what they do with their character designs. And then I have to give a close second to Black Myth because I do enjoy their character models. I like the way the detailing of the monkey and the main character at least in that game. So I would have honestly went with either one of those two over Metaphor, but it was really because again I played a lot of Elden Ring and I felt like a lot of the designs and the art style and like all
Elden Ring would be my choice.
Yeah.
Other choice, but yeah.
Yeah, it just felt like it was pushing beyond what they normally do when it comes to visual the visual aspect of it, at least from an art style. Very unique in that way. Like you were kind of almost stairway to heaven type situation where you were kind of going through that last area. So I thought it was really cool. But that's not to say that Metaphor isn't either. I haven't played it yet, so that'll be my case. Best narrative, we got Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, Metaphor, Free Fantasios, Suana Saga, Hellblade 2, and then Silent Hill 2. Metaphor, Refantasio winning that. I can see that. I mean, I think those games are meant to be heavily on the narrative. I'm surprised Like a Dragon got in there. Makes me want to kind of go and play those games, but I tried already. And it's not that it's not fun. It's just that I don't have time for those games either. Any arguments for or against Metaphor winning?
I'll go since I haven't finished it. Personally, no, but I can see it in like their writing. Like the Persona games are always like going for interesting writing. Infinite Wealth is like a legacy, like getting all the old characters back together to hang out. So I can see why that would be good for people into that series. As for the other games, I think they were enjoyable, but I personally wouldn't say the narrative wowed me. I think it was more about the performances for like Hellblade and Final Fantasy.
Yeah,
not the like story itself.
Yeah. I'm surprised Silent Hill got a nod, but I'm pretty sure that's just based off of like everybody really highly regarding the story in that game previous. Yeah. So it's pretty much the copy and paste. So I would see how that get the nod. Um, okay. Anything to add there, Jalen, before I move to the next one?
Nah, I ain't got nothing.
All right, let's talk about the best game direction. And that went to Astrobot, but it was Balatro, Black Myth Wukong, Elden Ring, and then Final Fantasy Rebirth and Metaphor as well. Um, I'm surprised they had 6. But best game direction, do all these categories? No, they don't. Okay, so I'm tripping. I'm not tripping. Um best game direction is kind of tough for me because it's kind of talking to not just the art, but it's talking to how the game, it's like progression, it's talking to a lot of different things that can make a game, make or break a game. And I don't know how um I think the toughest one out would be to kind of make sure the pacing was right and nobody was getting bored of it would be Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Mhm.
And I think that you said that Dame's direction wasn't the greatest. So, or at least the pacing. Metaphor, I don't know how they can keep that stakes up that long, but I've heard that they did a lot of stuff to make sure that those stakes felt good throughout the entirety of the game and it didn't feel like filler. And I know Jalen even mentioned not feeling like filler was there because he ain't got to go to school no more. He can just go places. He can get stuff done. So that gives a nod to the metaphor. Astrobot, I feel like game direction, there is no point of this. Like, I don't know if like there's just literally levels. Like you create a level. Like I can never see a Mario game winning game direction, best game direction. I don't know. And maybe I'm thinking of it wrong and how they categorize it. But when I think of a game direction, I'm thinking of pacing, I'm thinking of sequencing, and I feel like Astrobot probably had the easiest go at having the best sequencing because they literally only had levels. They had to just stitch great levels next to each other. They didn't have to mean anything or have any continuity when all the rest of them, I felt like it did. So when that won, I don't know, I was a little taken aback. But any thoughts on for or against Astrobot winning best game direction?
For me, best game direction is hard to define because it falls into two things. Like it can literally be like camera direction, and like I would say controlling what the player is looking at, or it would be creating like something memorable, like not just the story, but like you remember this scene in the game or you remember this part of the game. So for me, best game direction, I thought it would go towards Elden Ring if Elden Ring didn't win Game of the Year, because I feel like Elden Ring, like the DLC, like won the progression, but also the environments and like the bosses. Like I feel like it created like back to back like memorable moments for that DLC, and that's kind of what made it fun because like you run around in the open world and
Mm-hmm.
there's just always something fun or interesting to do. So that's what uh, wins the best game direction. For me, I haven't played Astrobot. I have played all of the 3D Mario games. I do see how strictly, if we're looking at the design of the game with no story or anything like that, how Mario game can do that, because like just like Elden Ring, if they give you levels back to back and each level is more and more interesting than the last and you get more power-ups, and it feels like you know on the first level I can do a double jump, by the 8th level I can do a triple jump and do like all these different abilities back to back to back, where I feel like it's just very fun. I can see how the fun aspect is just like the best that anybody has did it. Like this is the most fun game on the list, for example. Um, but I mean, that being said, yeah, I think Astrobot, I've seen a lot of videos of it. It's just Mario Galaxy in a lot of sense, or
Mm-hmm.
a reference to a lot of Mario games or other platformers. And I think that Mario Galaxy, the Game Awards were not out then, but those games did win a lot of awards as well. So I guess I can see where one on that aspect, where what they were doing in just strictly like fun gameplay is probably better than like the other ones, but the other ones probably have other stuff to bring to the table.
Yeah, I think that when I was thinking through it, I was like, I probably would have gave that nod to either Elden Ring or Metaphor, because I feel like if those can keep their pacing throughout those longer games, like I understand that I play like 50 hours of Elden Ring, and understanding that the difficulty plus the progression of the player plus the level of it's like training almost. Like you have to go around and fight certain things to kind of get comfortable with the mechanics of the game to understand how to progress through harder difficult fights. So it just was like one of those things where to me it's really hard to nail that, and for me Shadow of the Erd Tree just gave me a lot of options. Now it to granted um a lot of people were complaining about a lot of the Shadow, so maybe that is a knock to it because people were complaining that it was too difficult, it was tuned improperly, and that what they were looking for and what they were trying to find wasn't out there, and they had to go look up guides. So that could be a knock to them. I understand that, but maybe Metaphor probably doesn't have that knock. Again, I could just be downplaying playing it, but to me, probably should have went to one of those two. Then there we had Game of the Year, and repeat, Astrobot won, beating out Balatro, Black Myth, Elden Ring, Final Fantasy Rebirth, and Metaphor Ring Fantasio. I was really surprised by Astrobot winning, not because it wasn't worthy of it. I just felt like because they won Best Game Direction, they weren't going to win nothing else. Like they were in a multiple multiple categories, and I think they won like 4 times, if I'm not mistaken. So I just wasn't expecting them based off of just pure numbers. But yeah, they snuck in there and they got them another dub at the Game of the Year, the top of the top. I guess, do you feel like Astrobot was justified in winning, Josh, or did you? I guess, where do you fall on the fence of these crazies out there?
Yeah, I was surprised as well because usually they try. I mean, I don't know if they do it on purpose, but usually the best game direction and game of the year go to different games, whereas like
Mhm.
best game direction is kind of the runner up. So I was surprised that Astrobot got that as well. But I guess if you're going by the same reasoning for the best game direction, where it's the most just like pure fun game,
Mhm.
then I can see why that will win. Um, Personally, like looking at the list, for me, the only games I think were worthy of Game of the Year would be Elden Ring and Metaphor. We already talked about Elden Ring kind of being like maybe shouldn't be there, maybe it's like too controversial pick, or maybe some
Mhm.
people who were voting actually didn't like it, but they had to acknowledge it, like its success, so it's on the list. Um, Final Fantasy VII is kind of all over the place. Like once you play it, unless you're like I'm a Final Fantasy fan, but unless you're like a super diehard fan, I feel like those are the only people who like will ignore the issues with that game because it has issues.
Mhm.
Metaphor, I haven't finished it, but maybe it's not for everybody. And then the other two, I don't care about Black Myth or Balatro. So I can see why somebody would pick Astrobot, but it would have to be like they're literally saying, I put 30 hours into the game and it's the most fun I had, like going 30 hours for 30 hours compared to these other games.
Right.
Or however long Astrobot is, probably not even 30 hours. Like these 12 hours were better than the 12 hours that I played with Final Fantasy kind of thing.
Hmm. Yeah, and I bought it for that reason because I wanted to try it out. I wanted the fun factor of it. I sometimes it is easier.
And
Oh, go ahead.
yeah, and to be fair, when we saw the trailer, it was like when Sony showed it off a couple months ago, it was like this was the best game y'all showed
Yeah.
uh at y'all presentation. It's probably the best game they put out this year from Sony. But it is just like you said, a simplistic platformer, so it's harder to put I guess weigh it against other games that have other stuff going on.
Yeah. It's
Yeah, I
significantly
mean,
more. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
no, I was gonna say like, I mean, when you break down that list, it's like, all right, how many people gonna jump in a metaphor? How many people gonna jump in a Black Myth? How many people gonna jump in a Final Fantasy or Elder Ring or just whatever? Versus like Astrobot, it's like a game. It's like a family friendly game. Everybody
Yeah,
can
it's the
play it.
only game
People
with the
talking about
kids
yeah,
appeal too.
yeah, and like people was in the things talking about like my kids love this game. Like we had a lot of fun playing this game. This that, and the third. Like it's easy to get in, easy to get out. Everybody can play it. It's a good performing game on Sony's end, and it's just like, especially with the stuff with the PlayStation and all that type of stuff. People want the PlayStation Pro. Like it's gonna be a game that people gonna easily get into versus like, hey, come play Metaphor. All right, go watch this 10-minute cutscene. All right, go. You know what I'm saying? You get more bang for your buck playing that game, especially if you don't have a deep investment. You're trying to get in and get out. So
I mean, yeah. I mean, but the simplicity shouldn't always be like a default. I think that
it shouldn't.
Astrobot has great qualities. I guess.
I don't think it should have won personally. I was shocked that it actually won because I feel like there are better games, like objectively better games, but because of the simplicity and you know what I'm saying?
Appeal.
And, yeah, like people just get in, get out the game, or the game look good. Oh, look at these little cute little robots. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just stuff like that where it's just
Yeah,
like
the
you
best
take
stuff I
away
saw
from
about it were people just wearing Bloodborne costumes and emoting. Like it was funny and cute, but not necessarily like
a
a game.
gamer. Yeah, like from
Yeah.
a gamer standpoint, we're gonna be like, all right, I mean, it's a solid game, woo, woo, woo. But like for the masses and stuff like that, you know, you like, all right, well, it's going against Metaphor. How many people gonna jump up and say, hey, you played that new Metaphor? No, like people not gonna be saying it. Even though it's a good game, people not gonna be saying that. Like, you know, so
Let me play a quick devil's advocate. I agree with y'all, but I think I don't know if they think about it, but like the mass appeal or appeal to other audiences, if that factors in their decision. Like, which one of these games would you recommend to your mom? Right? Like, would you recommend Black Myth Wukong? And I think the only game that has like a appeal to the biggest audience is Astrobot, and I feel like that could have pushed it in his favor.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I probably recommend Final Fantasy based off the fact that it got. I feel like the game has a little something for everybody. Despite the story being convoluted, you picking up on something. It's just like it's not necessarily a slow paced game, and it's kind of like an adventure. I feel like you can to some capacity get bang for your buck because it's just not like I didn't feel like it's that grindy, if that makes sense. Like it's just kind of on a good
Mm-hmm.
time, people cracking jokes they laughing. You know, you got Carl doing goofy things, and he's, it's just kind of like like an anime, if you will. Like that's kind of the way I
Mm-hmm.
look at it. It got like a slice of life, and it got the serious components with it too. So
Mm-hmm.
that would be a game that I feel like is easier for people to get in. And I'm not gonna
Mm-hmm.
say it's still easy to get in, but based on how the game presents itself, it's a tad bit easier to get in than the other games on the list aside from Astro.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Okay. Yeah.
saying, I guess I'm thinking of it from, and people were trying to make, people were making points, but they weren't like the best. But one point was made around, history around sales and things like that, and I was like, that was pretty interesting, where they were talking to how much Astrobot truly sold, and honestly, that's not the quality of what a game is to me, but sales can determine and sway impact. And to me, an impact for game of the year should be swayed by actually people playing it. So when you're looking at the difference of Astrobot selling 1.5 million versus Black Myth selling like 20 million or something like that, like those type of things, I get it. That's a China first game, high AAA game. Obviously, they're going to support it pretty heavily. I don't know how many of those numbers and sales were coming from the U.S. or whatever. Obviously, game of the year shouldn't be determined by the U.S. It should be determined by the global market. So, how do y'all feel like that should come into play, or do you feel like it should at all anyway? Like, do you think that that matters?
Personally, I don't, because then why is Call of Duty not Game of the Year every year, right?
Yeah.
Or FIFA? I feel like it is a factor of success, but it doesn't mean it's the I don't know. It will, they're all great games, so I can't say is it really the best game of the year, but I'll say the most memorable, the game we'll be talking about in 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that should be more of the conversation instead of just sales. So for me, I don't think Wukong personally has the qualities for something I'll be talking about in 10 years. Um, but that I think that's just personal opinion.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. I don't really have a thought around it. I feel like It Takes Two was another one of those ones that kind of came out of nowhere and won a lot of accolades, but it did sell pretty well around that time as well. Uh and there is like those outliers when there is situations where the game that you thought was going to win did not win. So and it's not even been that long, but it just felt like this one um it felt like it was a little bit more of um a collective group decision versus like the masses voice, because I think it usually aligns. I think that's my thought is that it usually aligns with what the masses are saying. Like everybody loved the fact that Spider-Man 2 was lost, not loved it, but people were very much so discussing Spider-Man 2 and Elden Ring as if they were even competing in the same realm, and we knew that outly it was outly sold more than Spider-Man 2, and people played it more, and it's more memorable than Spider-Man 2. So those types of situations where you could obviously depict which one is probably going to be the game of the year based off of sales, based off of the conversation around it. I just feel like I heard more about Black Myth, or I heard a lot more about Elden Ring than I ever heard about Astrobot from its initial impact and beyond. That's what I'm trying to get at, where it
So
kind of like feels like this one was a little bit more of a situation where, like, even with It Takes Two, I felt like It Takes Two, I was talking about it. I played it with my wife, and I was talking about it months after we finished it. So I just thought it had like a lot of good connections, and people were talking about it way more than and I didn't know that. But it was kind of, when you look back, you kind of think about that stuff. And when I look at this one, I'm just thinking of it from when it came out, how much impact it had, and maybe that's not a factor. I'm just telling you what I usually see for the Game Awards, and then what I
yeah,
saw this year.
I mean, I feel like the game with the most conversation on that list is probably Final Fantasy or Wukong.
I don't think Final
But
Fantasy. No, I definitely think it was either. Um, I think it's Elden Ring, to be honest, but that's because I was
well,
more captivated
other
by
than
it than
Elden Ring,
anything.
yeah, I feel like Elden Ring.
Should
Personally,
win.
I didn't think it would win Game of the
Yeah.
Year. I would thought it would win Best Direction. Just because I feel like it is controversial and they probably wanted to avoid that.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
But as far as Black Myth, like I feel like that is the game that I've seen come up a lot in conversations, and I feel like with the sales and also the online conversation aspect of it, it was giving me like Sparking Zero community vibes, whereas like the people talking
Oh,
about this are a specific community
yeah.
that are very loud, but I didn't ever get the feeling from the people from I guess bigger outlets that they loved Black Myth. Like it was fun, it was very flashy, but I don't feel like it had any impact like beyond that.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't think anybody's making a game based around Black Myth. Like, no, nobody's coming out with another game. And then we already have similar kind of like already based games that are coming out that looks just like it. I think It Takes Two and things like that. I mean, obviously these genre defining games where there is like a significant push now for cooperative play or whatever. Some of those impacts can be felt a little bit with that. I don't know if that was like a huge impact, but I do know that those quality of life games where you kind of have like two players trying to work together to get something done. Those started to come out a little bit more frequently after that. But I think that there's there's a disconnect. I'm not saying that they should have won because I don't think Black Myth had the chops to win. To be honest, when I was looking at it from my perspective, the only reason I haven't bought that game yet because I just feel like one, the quality isn't there in regards to technical prowess, and then I don't think that it's worth the money that they're still asking for at least. So I just don't feel like I'm enticed to play it. And that's not to say that the game is bad. It's just not enticing me, and there's nothing out there that's showing me otherwise. Like they don't have like a big huge budget for ads or advertisement or anything like that. This is something that was very heavily held up by the community more so than anything. So there's no real reason for me to revisit this. There's no like super sweet DLC coming out that they're even um, uh, showing off or anything like that. So there's nothing that will get me to want to play it because I haven't seen any major updates to their PS5 version and everything like that. So it's just one of those things where maybe that community is just extra loud on the internet and they're not really that big of a success story outside of that. But the numbers do show that at least a lot of people wanted to go out and purchase this game. Did they finish it? Who knows? Did they like it? Who knows? But I do know that at least the impact of this game being the first Chinese developed game and having this amount of success shows that they're bringing their capabilities over to the Western market is nice to see. I'm not saying that it was great. So I get what you're saying, and that impact. If I had to put it under a heavy lens and take a real deep look at it, I do not expect anything that Black Myth introduced to be like copied or tried. I do think it's going to spark a generation of AAA developers coming out of China now. But that's still impactful on its own right. So there's some stuff that maybe you don't want to. I don't want to take away from them, but I don't think that the games in that category, all of those games, that I still think that possibly there was two others in there that would have probably took the nod if perception and how they were received was better technical wise and things like that. So it's just one of those things where like I don't know. So I don't want to debate that too long, but what I will say is that Astrobot will be played soon, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna enjoy it. So that's about it. I'm keeping that game only due to the fact I'm not gonna like resell that game or anything because I can play with my kids at a later point. That is really one of those things where I don't have no attachment to the other games for any reason to like hold on to them because once I beat them, I'm never going to return. But Astrobot, I will return, and that's a guarantee simply due to the fact that I can play that with my kids, so they already win off that. But yeah, okay. Let's move right along to some of what we saw and what we liked. Anybody want to kick it off with a game that they enjoyed coming up, being announced at the Game Awards 2024? First, I guess, let's grade it. How did y'all feel about it? A and F. How did y'all feel about this year's Game Awards?
I would say for me a B. I feel like it was carried by Sega and Capcom, and a couple smaller announcements as well. But I would say the big like one more thing reveals for me personally didn't hit. Like I think is it called Intergalactic?
Yes.
Looks okay.
Yep.
I'm happy that Naughty Dog is doing something different. I'm not that interested in just like what they showed because I feel like I'm over the sci-fi 80s Guardians of the Galaxy aesthetic. Like the Guardians of the Galaxy game did it very well.
Yep.
Concord did it very it didn't land very well. So coming out with that, not to say that they're gonna fail. It's just I'm not that excited for it. But it looks good graphically, and it's Naughty Dog, so I feel like it's gonna deliver on a lot of like narrative and character acting and stuff. Um, they're good at they're good at melee, but I don't know if I like their type of melee as well for that sword combat style game. So I don't know. I guess I want to see more, but I wasn't too hyped about that. And there was no other like secret like, oh, you didn't know this was coming type announcement that I was super hyped about. But overall, it was pretty solid. I saw a lot of cool games I'm looking forward to.
So what's the grade?
I'll be.
Oh, B. Okay. What about you, JB? What did you see of what you saw? Did you feel like it was too many commercials? Did you see too many AMD ads, or was it just right?
I do feel like it was a lot of ads, but I mean, I don't know, man. So like, I low key was getting tired of the ads and stuff like that. But I mean, I feel like I don't know. I wasn't bored of it. I ain't got a good frame. I give it a B minus.
Okay.
I wasn't like enthralled or
but you
anything
wasn't
like
bored
that.
either. You was just kind of like, okay, I see y'all did something there, but moving on to the next. Okay.
Yeah, and I don't think it needed to be that long personally, but
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, I guess I would quantify that. I mute all ads and I skip the Snoop Dogg's performance. So that's why it's a B for me because I ignored all the stuff I wasn't interested in.
Yeah. Well, we watched it live, so I couldn't really ignore it. More so, I was just there. But yeah, for me, I say if for award shows, I have to give it an A. I don't think there's nothing you could do to make it worse or better than what that was. There's literally stuff you have to put in there. There's stuff you have to get done, and then there's stuff you have to announce, and you have to give people space to talk. And I think he nailed all of those things. So there's nothing I would have done differently, to like try to shorten the time frame. I probably wouldn't have invited Snoop Dogg. I don't know what that was, but I mean, that's what they wanted to do. So they had some artists. I feel like more so highlighting the people that really are doing the music for the games would have been better or smarter. There's plenty of OSTs and things like that people really love in these games. That probably could have got some of the people that did it to come up and present, even through the Arcane and all that stuff. I thought that was much better presentation wise than having Snoop Dogg randomly do a set. So it just didn't make sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be the only thing I would change. But get that bag, Snoop. You always do. But yeah, I mean, outside of that, my biggest and favorite announcement would still have to be coming out the Game Awards. I'm gonna have to go with the one I'm more so anticipating is The Witcher, and seeing Ciri again, and kind of seeing where it's going. For me, that was probably the biggest and best one for me. I felt like it was just, even though it was just more so, I don't know what it was. It's pre-rendered, but they said it was on the GPU. So I'm like, I don't even know what that means. That means y'all pre-rendered it on this unknown GPU and then presented it to us. But it felt like when I was looking at it, there was like telltale signs of like artifacting that I saw. I was like, okay, is this running in an engine that they are using real assets or what? And then it was confirmed later that they were using real assets. So I'm more excited about if this is going to be more of a slowed down approach to The Witcher and battles, like really showcasing the strength and weight of being a Witcher, or is it going to still be more of those more bombastic RPG types that don't really have like a lot of it's more so kind of gaming. I don't know the direction, to be honest. I think that what they showed though it felt like it's gonna have more weight to the world, and I'm ready for the world to be a little bit more. Like she feel like she want to attack the world, and I'm okay with that. I feel like I want to make decisions that kind of mess up a lot of stuff, and I feel like Siri gonna be messing up some stuff. Um, so that's what I'm interested in. That's what I'm intrigued by. I felt like it was really cool to see that, um, because I just felt like that was a dope, opening at least.
Yeah, Witcher 4
Uh,
looks good.
yeah, I think the other things that I was like super excited for, or at least thought was really cool. Minutia. I used to play that all the time. I never beat it, but I used to play it a lot, and I wanted to see what they do to kind of bring that back. I just very distinctively remember trying to get across a bucket of water, and I don't know what the heck was going on in the game. I think I was like on a bridge or whatever, and I was trying to fight something. And I don't remember if I couldn't do it because I was too young or I couldn't play it in front of people. Whatever the case may be, I didn't finish that game, but I just distinctly
Yeah,
remember certain sections and settings in that game. So
yeah. Onimusha looked good. I was just looking at that, at those games because I never played them, but I know that it
mhm,
started as like a Resident Evil Samurai game, and then
mhm,
it became more like an action game as the series went on. So I
mhm.
was looking at 1, 2, and 3, playing them, on my PlayStation 2, mint condition PlayStation 2, here at my home.
Mhm.
And I bought the disc for $300 from a game store.
What?
But no, but anyways,
Yeah.
yeah, Onimusha looks good, and
I bet
Capcom
they
had
do
a lot
cost that
to show.
much. But yeah.
So, yeah, that was a good announcement.
Um, one of the other ones that I really liked, and I know people got a lot of flack for, because I guess that Outer Worlds 2 is no longer a Xbox exclusive. It's coming to PS5 as well, but Outer Worlds 2 looked really good. I thought Outer Worlds 1 was okay. I just didn't have time to play it at that time. I think I'm gonna dedicate some time to play this one or Avowed. If Avowed captures me a little bit more, I might play that over this because it's only one or the other. I'm sorry, it's not gonna be both. So it's gonna be this one or it's gonna be Avowed. I'm gonna try Avowed immediately when it come out. If it don't capture me, I'm gonna cut it off and I'm gonna just play Outer Worlds 2. Because it is both of them coming from Obsidian. Both of them are going to be like those open world story games, and honestly, I only got one in the tank, and I want to make sure I choose wisely. But Outer Worlds 2
Mhm.
did look really good. It did look good. It looked like more graphically more superior. It looked like they had better weapons. It looked like it had more creativity around the writing a little bit. It looked like they had bigger worlds and stuff like that, direction wise or set pieces. It looked cool. So looking forward to that as well. But a sleeper, the one that I really, really wanted to play, and I know um it was two. It was two actually, but this is the one I was like, I could play with my wife, which is another one of those It Takes Two's games, and that's coming from the I can't remember the developer name now. The guy that always cuss, but
It's like
yeah, something like that. I don't know. Um, I don't know if I can't even confirm it. Yeah, it's Haze Light is the studio, but I don't know that guy's name.
Joseph
Um,
Ferris.
yeah, there he is. There he is. So Split Fiction. Split Fiction looks really fun and just intriguing for a lot of different reasons, but the main reason for me is that it's in that same breath of push fun and not anything else. Like every sequence looked at fun, every sequence looked at unique, and that's the same thing that happened with It Takes Two, where we was running around doing all types of crazy stuff, trying to save our daughter. Now this Split Fiction is trying to get out, escape a world created by our own thoughts, and everything looked like it was crazy and cool. So I'm really looking forward to that, and that's not going to be coming out that far down the line. So definitely one of those ones where it will. I feel like it will sell a lot because people just love. I think people love these types of connected games, and I think that we had another one announced from the people that made Overcooked that is coming out as well. That has that connectivity and that same split screen sequencing stuff like that, co-op play. So definitely look out for Split Fiction. If you didn't see that, and it should be coming out pretty soon, and I think it's March 6th of 2025. So definitely one of those ones that you want to try out and take a look at and keep an eye on for sure. I'm gonna pause there because I want to make sure I'm not just taking everybody's thunder. Did y'all have anything else y'all saw there that y'all liked?
The big one, Okami 2.
Yep.
I thought that was a good announcement, and I'll say less about the announcement of Okami sequel because there was already a Okami 2 on the DS, and nobody cared about that game. The Okami 1 was a good Zelda clone back on the Wii PS2 era. It was also a very long game, so I feel like nobody was necessarily hoping for a sequel because it gave you everything you wanted from that story from the first game. But it's nice to see that the developers are going back. I think that was part of the announcement. Like they announced Okami 2 or Okami sequel plus Hideki Kamiya, because Kamiya left Platinum Games earlier this year after Bayonetta 3, and he didn't say where he was going. Turns out he went back to Capcom, or he went back to form his own studio. It seems like.
I don't know,
but
how
they're working with
Capcom.
Yeah, they're working with Capcom to make Okami 2 again, and some more announcements this week that a lot of people from Platinum Games have left to join him at his new studio. So it seems that this is, I don't know who's left at Platinum or whatever, but there's a lot of Platinum talent going back to work with Capcom on old games. And I don't know if y'all know their history, but when Kamiya was with Capcom, he worked on Resident Evil and stuff like that. Eventually, he formed a different team to make Okami, Beautiful Joe, and a bunch of other smaller like action games that were not as popular as like Resident Evil, whatever. Anyways, they didn't sell enough money, so they left, made Platinum Games, made Bayonetta. Bayonetta blew up. Now they're going back to Capcom. That's, I guess, the most interesting part of the story because people are interested in that team. They make good games, and they're going back to Capcom, and so they can work on the IPs that they didn't have access to while at Platinum. Because the biggest problem with Platinum is that they don't own any of their IPs, so everything they make, somebody else owns it.
Right. So yeah, that's really cool. Maybe I need to get a quick reminder of why Okami is good, but to me, them doing Beautiful Joe was probably their peak.
Yeah,
peak
but
for
Beautiful
me.
Joe sold like 10 copies.
It was pretty bad. But
They
at least had
that was cold, man.
they had
I
a
like
sequel.
Beautiful Joe.
They had a sequel.
Yeah, I played the main game and the sequel, and I was part of those 10 copies sold. Me, you, and Jayla, because didn't nobody buy that game.
I didn't know that game sold that bad. I thought Beautiful Joe is cold. They had a TV show and everything. They had the Red Hot Rumble, the fighting game. Like, I'm getting all these Beautiful Joe games, man. Inching a go-go, baby.
I thought those games were really cool. So I didn't know that they sold that bad either. But anyways, I think that one was a really good one, especially seeing Jeff tear up a little bit. I was like, dang, bro, you really dedicated it.
Yeah, maybe he was overhyping it, but Okami, good art, good music. The game was fun, and it's been like 15 years. And plus the character, like they keep including her in other stuff. Like Amaterasu was in Marvel vs. Capcom. She was in the game they just released this year, Path of the Goddess or something like that. So, I mean, it's a good game. Maybe not the best Capcom revival, but it's been so long. Like, why not bring it back?
Okay. How did you feel about the new Last Guardian, and
Fumito Ueda?
Untitled
I don't know
design game.
Shadow of the Colossus gameplay with robots. I think the trailer wasn't super exciting, but I think that for me, they've proven well enough that I'll play whatever they come out with, and I think they always have good art and like good story, so I'll play it. Yeah,
You
and
didn't
look,
like you didn't you
but
didn't
yeah,
you
it
didn't
maybe
like the
too early
art?
to announce it.
You didn't like the atmosphere,
No,
maybe?
I like the atmosphere, but they're using Unreal Engine 5, and I feel like it's not it's too early to announce it. Like maybe the game is like 5 years away, and it looks like it's 5 years away. You know.
Gotcha. No, I was kind of captivated by the ambiance. I thought it was really cool. So I always like those games. I haven't beaten one yet, so it's time for me to kind of it's time to make a change. I don't know. I just got to figure out when I'm gonna play it, how I'm gonna play it, because I don't really. Every time I tried to play Shadow of the Colossus, I think I got spoiled by it, and it lost all my want to kind of finish it. Once it got spoiled for me, and then Last Guardian, I just was I forget. I still own it on the PlayStation, so I just haven't went back to play it. So that's one of those things where I should definitely get to beating one of them at least. But okay. Cool. There was plenty of other stuff that I really enjoyed. Dispatch being one of them. Those are my, you know how I love me some Telltale games. And it's not by the Telltale Games company. It's by another company that has people that worked on Telltale Games. But it's called Dispatch, and it's like a superhero dispatcher that sends out people, and it got like voice actors from. Bigger ones are Aaron Paul and Laura Bailey. But they have also a bunch of different different names and things like that as well. That's going to be playing some of the characters and superheroes. It's one of those ones that you probably would have more time watching it as a TV show, but they wanted to make it interactive, so whatever. So either way, I think it's going to be one of those cool games that, you know, it's going to probably have a lot of accolades for around our game design, or either not game design, but more so performances and direction. So looks cool. No. Let's see. Anybody picking up Last of Us Part 2 on PC? Did y'all play
Man,
Last of Us Part 2?
Man, I can't wait to get that game, bro. I'm so happy they
No,
made
Josh
it again.
played it. Josh played Last of Us Part 2.
No, I didn't.
No,
I ain't played 2.
Did you play 1?
Yeah, I played 1.
That's all we played. We ain't want to play no more. They kept
I
shoving it
played
out.
on the PS3. That's how much
Literally.
I care about Last of Us.
Yeah.
That's our favorite. We might as well change this podcast to the Last of Us podcast, bro. House of who? House of Last of Us.
Yeah, sure. Last of Us Part 2 is coming out April 3rd, 2025 on PC. I will not be copying, but they gonna milk that thing to its dry, which is cool. Like, honestly, I can see how it's scary to create another game, because the reception Intergalactic is getting is kind of like annoying me, because not only is Naughty Dog trying something new, but they can't reuse a lot of assets from the other ones. So it's like, yeah, they spending money on this too. So I feel like people gotta. I don't like when social media get a hold to something they don't like, and it's kind of like it kills the momentum a game could have had, or potential of a game, because it feels like sometimes it's targeted in the wrong way and not the ways that matter. So, yeah, I can see why they kept making remakes. I can see why they kept remastering it, because people liked it, and they was like, cool, y'all like it, we gonna give you more of it. So that is worrisome to me, that, you know, that game is not being received well as of now, like at least the initial reaction to it. Because I don't want, what does that signal to the gaming community? What does that signal to the gaming people that make games? Like, what does that signal? Like, we can't waste that much time and be making a game for this long, and what does that mean? Like, that's what kind of make me nervous. So
They gonna make Last of Us Part 2 Definitive Edition next.
Bro, they gonna be shoving down the same thing down our throat for the next 7 years because they scared to make another game. And if that Naughty Dog game bomb, sheesh, I don't even know what Naughty Dog gonna be like when that's over with. And that's one of the top developers, like Santa Monica and Naughty Dog not being in the top conversations for game development will be crazy work. Because what will be, I feel like we're gonna have a bunch of different studios. I don't know, maybe sometimes change is good, but there's a Sony rode that those horses for a very long time. I don't really want to see them not have it in the future. So we'll see for sure. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth coming to PC January 2025. Josh, you could have held out a little longer, and you might would have had a better experience. Are we going to play it again?
No.
No. Okay. Well, I mean that's fair. You played it already. Well, let me see. Jalen, you gonna hold off and play it on your Steam Deck, or are you gonna finish it up on your PlayStation?
Nah, I'm good.
You good? All right. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. When Borderlands 4 gameplay trailer dropped, it is definitely being overshadowed right now, but it was definitely underwhelming. Like, I didn't see anything that I thought was gonna be cool. So
Borderlands.
I was scared. I'm scared for them too. Yeah, when I was watching it, shut up. Please be quiet. You disrespectful man. This game was magic when you played it. Don't act like it wasn't magic for a little bit. This game was good.
That was Borderlands 2. This is Borderlands 8.
That was 10 years ago, bro.
I'm not saying that the game can't elevate. Y'all acting like the game can't evolve. Y'all acting like a game got to stick in the same. But that's what I'm saying. That's what's concerning me. I'm not saying that they haven't put out the same game over the last two. Tiny Tina World might have been a little bit different because of the overworld and what you were doing in it. But
6 games.
No, what are you talking about? It's been Borderlands. It's
2.
Been
it was
Borderlands
Handsome
2.
Jack. It was another game. It was Tiny Tina.
What you mean, Handsome Jack? You mean a collection?
No, there was a game. There was a game that was after 2 that was on the moon, right?
Oh, that was New Moon. Borderlands New Moon.
Yeah, they got a bunch of the side
prequel,
games.
The prequel. It was the prequel.
Didn't they have a mini game too?
A mini game.
They had Tiny Tina, but I thought they had another game that was in the Borderlands universe. Was it like Claptrap something? That wasn't a game or nothing like that.
I don't remember a Claptrap game.
Man, it's a bunch of Borderlands games, but yeah, it looked like Borderlands 2 again. Character powers maybe are interesting. Don't care about the psychos, so I don't know why they in the trailer. Yeah, it's Borderlands.
It's Borderlands.
More than the movie did. Borderlands 2, Borderlands the pre-sequel, Borderlands 3, and then Tiny Tina's Tuna World. And like all these games were like 2009, 2012, 2014, 2019, 2022. Like these games had
every game had
time between
DLC
them.
chapters as well. So it's not like empty space. They had like 20 DLC drops.
Yeah, I mean DLC, that's different. But I thought you meant like
the pre-sequel. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, it was the
and Tales from the Borderlands.
Yeah, Tales from the Borderlands, and then the new Tales from the Borderlands in 2022. Those were like those are other games though. So
they got new Tales from the. I thought.
Yeah,
dang.
They had new Tales, and that was trash.
Hey, they've been going crazy.
Yeah, it was trash. But yeah, for me, unfortunately, the movie was terrible. So
which one wasn't trash is the question.
Borderlands 2. and Borderlands
Okay.
Borderlands 2. Borderlands 1 was good, Borderlands 2 was good. The pre-sequel was decent because it was just more of content. But after that, Borderlands 3 was bad. Tiny Tina's World was not bad. Y'all just didn't like it no more. It's not that the Tiny Tina World was bad. Y'all don't like it no more. That's fine. That was in 2022. Borderlands 3 was a bad game. But now that they coming back off the Borderlands, like the numbered games, you would think they'd have like a bombastically different approach to what they wanted to do. And it just doesn't look that way. So it is sad to see a continuation of probably some mid from them. Because y'all can't deny that Borderlands and Borderlands 2 was pretty stark differences in how they played and operated.
I'm saying Borderlands 2 was the start of college. That's a long time ago.
Yeah, I'm not saying that it's not. That's like saying
I'm saying they haven't improved.
We knock Mario for having great games and then putting out mid for the last couple of years? We can?
Yes.
Yeah, we can.
But you saying like that's a bad thing that they have longevity. Like I'm not saying
they haven't improved.
That's not longevity.
They have not improved. That's the issue.
Man, that game don't got no longevity. I thought that series was finished.
We don't get that same knock for games being longer and still putting out mid. That's what I'm saying.
My thing is they had all this time to not improve on this game, bro. Like they can't. Yeah. They ain't improved on the game, bro.
Bro, first off, we haven't played it, and I don't think y'all even watched the trailer.
I played Borderlands 3.
Acting like y'all watched the trailer.
Pre-sequel. I played 2 and 1. I played all the Borderlands.
Man, y'all got a lot to talk. Y'all got a lot to say. No, I ain't doing a lot of games.
You gonna try to wrangle us in that game, and we just gonna go to sleep.
Ain't nobody trying to wrangle. I just said
I don't want to go to sleep, bro.
On here, I said this game might not be good. I admitted it on this pod. I said that game.
So what we arguing about? It don't look good. So
because y'all sitting up here trying to act like the whole franchise is trash, and that's just not the truth.
Borderlands 1 and 2 are good. Borderlands 1 and 2 are good.
Yeah,
for their time.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So they were good for what? Almost 5 years of their existence.
Wasn't nobody playing that game for 5 years. They played it for 1 and moved on.
2019 is when Borderlands 3
like
dropped.
2012,
so
bro.
You had to be playing Borderlands 2 and pre-sequel for almost up to like almost 7-something years, bro.
No, you play Borderlands 1 when it come out in 2009. You play Borderlands 2 in 2012 or whatever, and then you play
Borderlands pre-sequel was 2014.
Man, I ain't get to that. I played Borderlands 3 after that and just kept going to sleep.
Yeah, Borderlands 3 was a bad game.
Bro, we just giving you a hard time.
Pre-sequel's mid.
We know you like Borderlands, bro, so we gotta hate on it, man. Because you know we don't.
Obviously, because y'all some haters. I'm like, bro, y'all going a little hard, don't you think? Y'all didn't watch the trailer.
I paid too much money for that series for it to be trash. So that's my
God. It's not trash. It's that series is now.
I play every main game, and they're not good.
So you're saying Borderlands 1 and 2 was not good?
1 is okay. 2 was good. Pre-sequel was mid, and 3 was bad. So that's like a C.
Man, just say you don't like the game type no more. That's the fine. Just say that. Because I would rather you say that than say the games were terrible. Like, Borderlands 3 was bad.
Overall,
but Tiny Tina's Wonderland was not.
Add up the score, divide by 4. It's a C.
God. Have you played
2
Tiny Tina's Wonderland?
Is good.
Have you played Tiny Tina's Wonderland?
Yeah, that one ain't got a number on it, so I ain't played it.
Exactly. So when they actually brought something out in 2022, that was decent.
That was 10 years after I stopped caring.
Exactly, because you no longer were interested in the game. It's not that the games were bad. That is the difference.
Why was I not interested in them?
That's like me saying, oh, everything Mario do suck because I ain't interested in their platformers. Like, that's crazy talk. That's not the same.
But Mario will come out with something like Odyssey or Galaxy.
That is
Galaxy
decent.
2.
Yeah, a spinoff. That's what I'm saying.
No, those are not spinoffs. What are you talking about? Those are the mainline games.
No, the mainline games to me was those goofy pipe going down pipes and was the 2D ones. That's the mainline games to me. Those spinoffs is the ones that actually are fun. Mario
Okay.
64 is a
Mario
spin-off to
Brothers
me.
sold like 100 million copies.
Mario 64 is a spin-off to me. Mario Wonderland
That's
Okay,
not a
spin-off.
spin-off.
keep it with it.
Super
It's
Mario
not a
World
spin-off, but let's go with your
is a,
let's
is
go
a
with his
spin-off,
logic.
They got two. They got
Let's go with
2D
his
games and they
logic.
got 3.
bro.
New Super Mario Brothers
New Mario's Luigi.
3D sold like 100 million copies. So even going by that logic, your main series still sells well.
I'm not saying okay. You acting like first off, don't act like Borderlands don't sell. That's not. Don't put them in. It's
you
not
say
about
that
the sales.
flops, but I'm talking about what do you mean?
They do have
Whatever. I
flops,
don't care about Mario. I don't care about Borderlands.
but I'm just trying to give you
Borderlands 4
perspective on
trailer
your
didn't look
craziness.
good.
The craziness is what I'm trying to get to. The perspective,
So getting
not
back
the
to the
actual
trailer,
comparison.
Borderlands 4 trailer was okay.
It was not
Man.
okay. It was actually pretty sad because I thought that they were going to be innovative, and it didn't feel like much innovation was occurring because I know what Tiny Tina World was doing, Wonderlands was doing, and it felt like it was just a continuation of Borderlands 3, and that is really sad.
Look, when he broke that head or skull or whatever, my eyes just closed for some reason. I don't know why they shut. They just did it. Like I'm like, what's going on, bro? I was watching Borderlands and somehow I'm asleep.
Oh my god. Anyways, but yeah, Borderlands definitely it's got a hard out. I'm not gonna lie, and we'll see where it where it lands, but it ain't looking too good. That's what I'll say. Did y'all play Virtua Fighter when y'all was a kid, or is that a big news for y'all, or not really?
No, I know it's been gone. I was never into Virtual Fighter. I liked Tekken and Dead or Alive more. But it's cool to see it come back. It's just that's not a fighting game for me because it's super, super technical, more so than Tekken.
Gotcha. Okay, well, Turok came back. I'm gonna kind of go through a little bit of these that I thought was cool. Turok, there was the Sonic new racing game, Sonic Racing Crossworlds, which might be a cop because I love me some Transformed All-Star Racing. So that looked really good. There was also the I think that was pretty much what I enjoyed. I think the other thing that I saw that I liked was Elden Ring, Night Rain. How did we feel about this? It felt like the temperature was a little lukewarm to this one, guys. What did y'all like? Did y'all like it? No. No?
Yeah, I think it looks cool. And I think the announcements for it, how it's different than Elden Ring or the other Souls games, it looks very fun, and I'll play it.
Okay. Jalen, did you see that they had Dark Souls assets?
That ain't my favorite, bro.
They had Dark Souls 2 assets too. I know that's your favorite. Favorite. How do we feel about Elden Ring kind of mixing in a bunch of old assets and reusing them as more so than obvious than it was previously? Do we care as long as the gameplay is fun?
Personally, I don't care, and it's a different style of game, so that's fine. But I'm curious about the price of it because it's a multiplayer. Like I don't even know how to describe it. It's not a battle royale, but it's some sort of like extraction roguelike type game. So it's 3 players, whether it's matchmaking or with your friends. You go in, you pick a class that you can't customize. You fight enemies, you pick up loot, you fight a boss. And then you do that 3 times and you beat the final boss, and then that completes the run. So I think that's cool that they're doing something different. And all the weapons that they're putting there, I see some new weapons and some new magic and stuff. That's cool. And they're bringing back old bosses and some old enemies to throw in the mix as well. So I don't feel like it's a issue because there'd be so many different enemies. I don't not even gonna remember where everybody from. But yeah, it depends on the price point. If they're asking for a whole bunch of money and this feels like a experimental project that's not fully developed, then it's going to suck. But I feel like they have good fundamentals already built for the game, so it could be fun if they do it right. And it's not PvP, so you ain't got to worry about PvP.
Okay. We copping, Jalen?
Dude, I might give it a shot for real. I mean, if it's co-op, I mean, it's the best part. So,
Which system you buying it on? Because you know it ain't gonna be crossplay.
shoot, I mean, I guess y'all ain't got Xbox, so I guess I'm getting on the PlayStation.
I don't. Josh ain't got no Xbox and PlayStation. Let me see. Can you buy this game on? Okay, so it's PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, and PC. I wonder if it will be. Yeah, that logistically we have to probably figure
It's
that
not
out.
crossplay. They already announced that. So you get it on PlayStation or on PC. That's the options.
Oh, but you ain't got no PlayStation. Thought you didn't.
I don't. I mean, it don't mean I won't ever have one again if it a different reason to have it. But
Oh, okay.
the game not even coming out soon. So
Gotcha. Okay. Well, Jalen also has a very, very powerful PC that he doesn't use, so he can also leverage that, but he probably won't.
Nah, because if y'all leave me again like y'all did last time with Elden Ring, I ain't got nobody to play with. At least George and Wolves plays Elden Ring on PlayStation.
Oh yeah. That's facts. All right. Well, we have some more thinking on that one. But Josh, you got to get up out of here, right? So I'm about to end it unless we got some time to talk about this Arcane.
we can hit Arcane real quick and then go.
Okay. Well, so I know you already kind of graded it a little bit, so I'm gonna give my grade on it. I give it a solid 8 out of 10. And I guess my biggest concern with it as I was watching it was that it felt rushed. And maybe that's just people creeping into my brain because I've read an article about it before and after, and I was like, is this kind of being swaying me to think it's rushed because people said that it was rushed versus me actually thinking it was rushed? So I tried to go back and watch it again in a sense where I'm just thinking of it like, okay, sequence wise, this happened. But yeah, when I kind of went back, I kept feeling like I was getting like stuff was getting cut. Like people were like things kept just progressing faster than I was expecting. And maybe that's just how they wanted to tell the story, but it just didn't feel and then they had that whole episode about I'm so bad with names, but the dude went to the future and he was sitting there with Jinx and he was talking to her and they had this different perspective. Yeah, Echo. And they had a different perspective, and I felt like a lot of time was really nice for that episode, but then I felt like they cut out a bunch of other stuff to get this episode in here when I feel like I should have seen more so those experiences from multiple places because that's what they were trying to do. They were trying to show us like these different alternative worlds where people can be good and all this thing, but I feel like it wasn't explored enough before they zapped everybody back and everything kind of went back to normal, and then it started doing all this time manipulation stuff. I don't know. From the first season to the second season, I felt like I was playing catch up on the second season than I was on the first. I felt like the first was very tight, well directed, and I felt like this one was it was still a great story. I just felt like the direction of that story could have been told better by the end of it. I guess how did you feel about the pacing?
Yeah, so I only got one negative as far as the pacing is that I didn't like. So the first season, I feel like the story was set up pretty good, and the musical sections were weaved in there well as well. Like it fit the story, it wasn't too distracting. The only one that stood out was like when they introduced Echo in season 1. It was just like kind of like the Pusha T song. It was like a rap intro for just that episode to introduce his faction. That felt okay because it was a one-time thing. Season 2, every episode has like a music video at the beginning to kind of tell you the story in between the episodes. I feel like that part is rushed. Whereas like, once Nox has come in, they take over the city and the police is, hemming people up. I feel like they did that section in the music video. I feel like it would have been more interesting to see it play out. However, I think with the goal with season 2 was we have 20 different characters and we have a bunch of different plot lines that we need to fit in this season because there's not going to be a season 3, and they tried to fit everything in this season. So I feel like with all the stories and characters and plots they fit in the season, I feel like they had to cut out some stuff, but what the main core I feel like was still delivered for me. So even though it could have been longer, but they would have had to double the number of episodes, and I don't think that was a possibility for whatever they had to do. So I'm happy with what was there, and I didn't feel like anything that I wanted to see was glazed over too much. But I do feel like the music videos at the beginning of each episode show you that there's more to the story that we wanted to show you, like the in-between sections that had to get cut. Overall, though, I feel like what they did was they showed you all the characters from season 1, and then they had to like evolve them into their video game form by the end of season 2. So Echo got his time travel powers. Jace, he kind of got his level up with his hammer and stuff, and everybody else got their video game level up in season 2. I feel like all the characters relationships were good. Like I doubted they could like make Powder or Jinx like more likable, but I feel like they did a pretty decent job in season 2 where it's okay to feel like she maybe deserves jail time, but also, maybe their community service, blah, blah, blah. I don't know.
Nah, she should still die. I'm glad they killed her. Well, sorry.
Well, we already spoiled it, but she's not dead. But yeah, she's out of the story.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Whether you think she died or not, they gave hints for both, and I rewatched the ending, and like people pointed out different stuff. It was like, she said she wanted to leave the city, so she's gonna leave the city. But either way, she's out of the story, and you ain't gotta worry about jail time for Jinx anymore.
All right. So in my opinion, I felt like they wrapped up stuff well, but I was left wanting a little bit more by the end of it. I felt like there was
it more characters that you wanted, or you feel like something ended too soon? Or more characters, like plot lines develop more or something?
I didn't get the girl's motivation to save her mom, to be honest. I felt like stuff was just resolved I felt like stuff was resolved easily, if that makes sense. And I don't know the motivation of like, it just felt like when I was thinking through the sequences of like, okay, she goes in, she traps that enemy that she was gaining her powers from, and this black rose, and how they introduce it at the very end, at the very beginning, but really didn't have much of a impact to me. It just felt like that was something in there to it just felt like it was a plot point that needed to be there in order for them to resolve the conflict between the mom and their daughter. Honestly, I didn't feel like there was nothing. I didn't feel like the stakes there made sense to me. I don't know why, but I just felt like that Rose whole plot line was I don't know. I felt like it could have been explored differently. I think that could have been wrapped.
Yeah, I feel like that's a mistake. Well, not a mistake, a failing of the show that they don't have more information from the games. Because from what I understand from the games, mages are like thought of as evil, and their Noxus is like 100% against mages, and they will invade your country to capture and kill all the mages. And the Black Rose are mages, so that's a whole story and history that they didn't actually include in the show. So it's a weakness on that part, because they tried to hint at it. It was like, oh, Mel, you part mage, there's some secret stuff that happened with your mom that shouldn't happen, and we want to help build you up. And she's like, no, I don't really trust you, but also I don't trust my mom. And so yeah, it could have been developed more, but then they would have to do more to like introduce the backstory of like how the world works with magic and stuff like that. So
Yeah, like I said, when I have no understanding of League of Legends at all, so for me to be able to understand at least the much amount of stuff I've understood, I feel like they did a good job in the writing department. I just felt like sometimes when I watched it, I was looking at it with the lens of, would I be able to follow this pretty as easily as I did the first season? And that's the answer was no. If I
yeah,
missed a sequence at the beginning of a storyline or something like that, I still would probably like I don't really get that motivation there. I don't really get this motivation here. So I give that season an 8. First season 10 out
yeah,
of
I
10.
would give it an 8. First season for me it was very high, like almost perfect. I would give it
Yeah,
like a 9 or a 10 depending. Season 2 was an 8, but I feel like it was still one of the better animations that I've ever seen.
yeah.
And like even though they went a different direction with season 2, it was still like visually and like acting wise, it was still worth it for
Oh
me.
yeah, for sure. Anybody that watches
Hmm.
it is going to love it. I think that's the real key thing to take away is like you can this is a story worth telling, and it's not like one of those whack ones either. It's a pretty really good compelling story and explores some really cool concepts within that world, and you don't have to have any understanding of the world itself. So
Yeah,
if you can do that, then you hats off to you, and they did it. So I
yeah. And
like I
so
said, I
what they
liked
said
it.
they'll do next is Arcane, like those group of characters, they're not gonna focus on them anymore, but they'll have more shows in different locations for about maybe a couple small episodes. I don't know if they're gonna do 9 episode seasons for everything,
Uh huh.
but they're gonna focus on other locations for the rest of the animation stories that they do with Netflix.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, like I said, it was really good. Still overall really good. Glad that you got the chance to finish it up, but definitely one of those. It's one of them ones like Blue Eye Samurai. I don't know if you saw that yet, but that was another one of them ones that I'm highly anticipating the season 2.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, okay. Anything else that you want to get off your chest or anything before we get up out of here, Jalen or Josh?
Yeah, man. I don't believe the hype behind that or the minimal hype behind Borderlands or Borderlands or Sleepy Lands, Skaglands, whatever you want to call it.
Mm,
Mm-hmm.
Menu
You talking about
lands.
that industry plant?
You spend more time on it. Unless y'all like looking at menus, bro. Menu lands.
oh
Not
my
just flying.
god, here
I'm
we go.
talking.
Great games, but great stuff announced for sure at the Game Awards. Great stuff to kind of be excited about. Glad that you know that was a successful night. But looking forward to all these games, man. More games. What can I say? I like games. But thank you for listening. If you got to this part, you're the real OG. I want to thank you as always for taking the time to space to chill out with us. You can catch us on all of your podcast distribution areas, wherever you want to listen. Spotify, Apple, or I think it's Apple Podcasts. If you want to listen to us, I think Google got discontinued, but you want to listen to us on YouTube, you can as well. Thank you for listening as always, and we will be back next week with more conversation. Till next time. Peace.